No kids allowed.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of No Kids Allowed. The number one rule of this show is no kids allowed. If you've got children, kick them out of the room right now. Okay? Lock them in the basement. Okay? Put them in the garden. Give them snacks.
Or just watch it after they've gone to bed.
Oh, that's a good idea too. Never thought. Or just put in earbuds actually.
Yeah.
If you're watching it here on YouTube, hello. If you're listening to it, hello from the inside of your earbud. Earbud is an earbud.
I don't know. I've never heard that before.
Okay, so the idea of No Kids Allowed is that myself and Anna, I'm Jonathan, by the way.
God.
I got confused to who I am.
We've done this intro like 3 times now. Get it right. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Jonathan. I'm Anna.
We have 15 children.
We have 15 children.
And 7 dogs.
Feels like it sometimes.
We have 6 dogs and 4 kids.
6 dogs and 4 kids. When you get married, right, you're a couple and it's still you and your partner. But the minute you have children, it's like there's a third wheel. There's somebody in the way. And you will always choose your children over your own personal relationship. Every time we go on holiday together, we don't go on holiday together. We go as chaperoning our children. We go as the nanny. We go as the minder. We go as the feeder. We go as the driver. We go as the bag holder. You know, every time the children are around, our relationship is always like second place. And the idea of this is that we're always striving to, like, we have one date night a week, or we go away for a weekend, but it turns out that we just basically go there as late as possible, sleep over, and then drive home as fast as we can. So you just feel that like our personal relationship doesn't get to blossom as much because there's no focus on it. So I was like, why don't we do something where it's just you and me?
How it all started.
How it all started, yeah. Way back when it was just you and me hanging out, having fun. And I thought, this is what No Kids Allowed is about.
Yes.
Yeah. I hope you enjoy it. This is going to be an adventure. This is episode 1. It's the first ever video podcast we're doing on it. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And we thought an interesting topic to talk about because everyone's talking about it right now.
Guys probably all know, if you're on social media at all, that Chrissy Teigen recently suffered a miscarriage, and she was pretty public about it and has, because of that, as a result of that, experienced a lot of backlash, which Jonathan was listening to, I think, something on the radio talking. Was it?
Yeah, I think it was radio they were talking about it.
And it, triggered him to remember the time when we experienced our miscarriage. And obviously we waited a while after, but we eventually did put it out there on YouTube. And it was met with similar opinions. We got I would say most of it was positive, especially in hindsight, like looking back now, most of it was positive, but probably at the time, actually it wasn't. And we were met with a lot of the same reactions that probably she's getting, but then she's getting them on an even larger scale. So I've seen a lot of it, and I totally am on her side, on their side. I feel like, why not talk about it? Why not? Everybody's different. Everybody grieves in different ways. And I think the fact that she's being shamed for, that she shouldn't be allowed to express her opinions, or she's grieving in the wrong way. I think that's awful. I think it's the worst kind of reaction that, anyone, or the worst kind of treatment anyone could give her. Because it's basically taking what she's feeling and her emotions and her experience and telling her that it's not, she shouldn't be going through it that way, or she's grieving the wrong way, or she's experiencing it the wrong way, and she should just keep her mouth shut and just get on with it. Which is essentially what women have been taught for years, like centuries, to do.
Everybody kind of like expresses themselves their way, so for me it was like, I'm going to make a video about it, and that's what I wanted to do.
Well,
and
we were doing that anyway.
Oh, I know, but that's what I mean.
That was our thing.
Chrissy's like a big Instagrammer, so she put up that Instagram picture, and people were saying, "Oh, why did you stop and take that picture? And that's ridiculous." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I have that exact same picture, okay? And I have that picture because I wasn't expecting, that to happen."
I think she probably also went in there expecting better news.
And there's almost like when you've got a following. okay, of people. I felt like, do you remember when we sat in that car after we found out the baby was like gone? And we sat in the car and we were like really upset because we were going to go to Playlist like the next day or a few days later. And the only reason we got the scan, remember, was because we were flying to, was it Orlando or LA? I think it was Orlando. And we were like, oh, we'll just get the baby checked out before we go just to make sure everything's cool. I remember sitting in that car and like just crying and being so upset about it and thinking, how are we going to tell people?
I know.
Because everybody was so invested in the baby, in our pregnancy, in our life. When we went to Orlando, like the meet and greet we did, you know what I mean? And that was probably the worst week or two of both our lives. Like we would say like that. Well, I would say that. Would you say that?
Yeah, it was really difficult though, because it was also such an epic time. Like it was such an epic holiday for our family.
It was like the peak of our online career.
Well, we still had 2 small children that we were so grateful for and just wanted to give them the best life possible. So you have to keep going. And so it's hard because you're struggling inside, and obviously we didn't tell them, they were so little. I mean, I think Eduardo was like,
yeah, because that's the thing.
Andrea's age now.
When you come home from that and you come in the door and the 2 little kids are there and you're thinking like, oh my God, at least we have these guys.
Yeah. So we had all this inner turmoil going on. And it was the kind of like, we didn't really know. We were stuck in limbo because we didn't know for sure. We were told that
was
most
the thing,
likely it was gone.
Well, one part was saying it was gone. The OB that we were doing at the time, which was a different one to the one that we had our babies with,
he was so hopeful.
He was like, no, this is completely normal. Everything's fine. Then,
and because I hadn't bled.
Yeah.
There was no bleed.
The girl just came in and told us. But you remember how she was just like, she just did the scan. Was it an internal scan? I think it was. Yeah, she did an internal scan. And then we'd been through this with Amelia and Eduardo. So we were just like, oh yeah, let's go along with this. And then she was like, oh, yeah, okay. So there's no, the baby's gone.
She was so cold.
And we were like,
there was another lady there who helped me get dressed and stuff. And she was really nice.
Yeah. And they're just dealing with that. And I know that this is what me and Anna almost had an argument the other day about this, because I was saying that like, for me, okay, I think I felt the miscarriage probably even more than you felt it.
So now that I'm thinking about it though, I'm getting emotional. Like now I'm thinking about it and I think I'm just different to you. Like we
internalize your
we both kind of do
yeah.
we both are we internalize some things. Like you've internalized a lot of stuff and so have I, but I think it's
the little and big things, isn't it? Like
yeah.
I the big things I let my emotion out, and the little things I know
it's crazy. I don't know. I think we're the same and different in different ways. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
But so I was more so just of the opinion that I just had to keep going. I do this when big things happen like that. I am always like, okay. I'm really good at assessing the situation and being like, okay, I can't control this. So this is what I'm going to do to get through it and everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Whereas Jonathan is like that about everything. And so Jonathan kept saying like, we've lost a child. And I kept saying, no, we haven't. And we kind of butted heads over that a little bit, because now I feel obviously differently. I think that was just my way of coping, was that I saw it not as a baby. I thought I saw it, I was 11 weeks. I felt like it was just a fetus. It wasn't, I don't know. This isn't meant to get controversial at all. This was just my way of processing it. I didn't want to think of it as my baby. I just couldn't.
I'm on the other side crying. I'm like getting tattoos done. I'm like letting off lanterns. I'm in a mess.
Jonathan was like, no. This is, I mean, I was a mess too, but I think I was I didn't want to do any of those things. So I didn't want to do the lanterns because I knew that if we did, I would get more upset. I just wanted to move on with my life. And whereas Jonathan was like, no, this is our baby. I want to grieve. But the more he kept calling it the baby. And I remember there was one moment I'm going to get really upset, but when we had the scan and you were like, you called it a little fella.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I just didn't want to think of it like that.
No. Because that is, to me, that was like the minute I remember you came into the room with the pregnancy test. And for me, that's the moment I have a child.
Oh my gosh, I didn't think I'd get
You
emotional
know?
about
But
this.
that is why I think that Chrissy Teigen shared that picture, because she wanted to mourn.
Yeah,
You know,
it's her right.
is way worse, okay? In some
Way
ways,
worse.
it's way worse. But in other ways, it's how we lost a pregnancy. That's how she lost a pregnancy is obviously...
She was
100 times worse.
way further
Every
along.
day is worse. Like, even now having children, like, you know what I mean? It's just...
Yeah, and that's what I kept thinking. That's how I got through it, is I was like, we're so lucky. We have these 2 amazing children. And I was so naive before it happened, because I thought, I'm so young, like, I'll be fine. I'm never, you know, my mom never had a miscarriage, so...
Well, that was the thing. Remember, afterwards, right? After we had that miscarriage, we had a missed miscarriage. And then we went off and we were like Googling it and trying to figure everything out. Even before we had the miscarriage. Remember, every night I had the Doppler out and I was like putting the stuff on you. And then we'd be listening, searching around. And anyone who's probably been, can remember, probably did the exact same thing. You know what I mean? I've listened. Do you remember in Orlando, I lie in your tummy on the bed, listen to your stomach and try and
We were
hear.
in so much limbo then, though. Like,
Do we have a baby? Do we not have a
I
baby?
know my mom would be back and forth with we would talk about it, like,
And everyone
isn't
gave
it?
us gifts. Do you remember? We were at playlists, like, and that's this beautiful community that we have, you
Which
know.
we since gave to, like, now Alessia plays with those toys.
Yeah,
you know?
I know. It's just
So
like,
it worked out. It's fine, you know, and I'm confident that with Chrissy Teigen and anybody else that experiences that's the main thing that I took from it, that the doctor said, was that, you know, you're just because you miscarried doesn't have anything to do with your next pregnancy. And I know some people miscarry, but apparently the facts are that they're not related in any way.
Yeah.
Each pregnancy is different.
My mom has that clinical way of looking at it. She always says, like, when I lost a baby, she was like, oh, well, that's good though. No, I know. Just, you have to wait till I finish the whole sentence. But she was like, well, that, because she works in medicine. And she was like, that's just your body saying there was a problem with it.
But I appreciated that kind of mentality, because I think that's how I dealt with
Like,
it too.
nature is so horrible, but it's
yeah.
it's right. It's been around way longer than we've existed. We exist because of nature.
We had our dogs. I mean, my
Yeah.
dog,
Yeah.
my queen, Sina, gave birth to 5 puppies, which
Yeah.
is also freaky because it's the same as me. So she had 5 puppies, and then the runt died. And it was really sad. This is before we had any babies. So they were our babies.
Yeah, we had 4. Yeah, it's weird how you and Sina have had to say, you broke your pelvis, she broke her back. You lost a baby, she lost a baby. You got 4 kids, she's got 4 kids.
gosh.
Now she's got a boy and 3 girls. You have a boy and 3 girls.
Do this.
Yeah.
No, Jonathan, it's like it goes so deep.
Oh
You're
my
not
goodness.
even. Yeah, no. And she is my baby. Like, oh, I just love her so much. I could do a whole podcast episode on Sina.
Yeah.
Because I love her so much. She just is the best dog I've ever had. I love her.
Is she the only dog you've ever had, though?
I have 5 more.
No, apart from the other ones. Like, no,
No,
'cause
but Albie treats me like crap.
he does. treat me
Okay.
like crap.
He abuses me.
He
I have
does.
bruises on my arms because of him. He is so evil towards me and not anybody else. He
know.
likes you.
I know.
He likes our nanny too. He likes our cleaning lady.
No, he
he
does.
likes our children.
Yep.
He just doesn't. Well, okay, actually, he doesn't really like Alessia that
Yeah,
much.
Leslie does antagonize him a lot. You antagonize him too.
I don't. I just love him, so I want to squish him, and then he gets really annoyed with me.
Don't squish him.
But Sina will just take anything. You could
Yeah.
ride Sina like a pony, and she'd be fine.
Andrea does
I don't
kids
mean in
do
that way.
Kids do that though.
They do, and she takes it because
Yeah.
she's such a champ. You know, her own daughter humps her sometimes, and
She
she's
does.
just like, okay,
She
I'll
does.
just go with it.
She
It's
does.
fine. So yeah, she is my queen. But why was I talking about her?
I have no idea how
but
we
she
segued.
also nature. It's nature's
It's
way.
nature. Yeah,
of,
yeah.
You know,
So if Junior was Theo. What did we name Minnie? If
Minnie.
Minnie had survived, we would have 7 dogs. You know,
which is insane.
everybody grieves differently with anything that happens. Either let's say you have a chemical pregnancy, you have a 10-week pregnancy, a 15-week, a 30, 20, all over the place.
I don't think it matters.
Like my aunt had a stillborn and she named it and had a funeral. and she talks about the fact that was one of her children.
Well, yeah.
But for me, like with the squid tattoo and the fact that, like, you know,
Yeah, so you're
the
more.
but I'm like that. I'm emotional. I'm like, I
But
do
then
yoga, for God's sake.
What I have an issue with, which I've never really spoken about before, is that sometimes I'll say that I have 4 kids, and sometimes other people, like not in real life, but online, will correct me and be like, no, you have 5.
Yeah.
I just have a problem with that. I know it's probably coming from a nice place.
Well, I know I say I have 4 kids. I don't say I have 5 kids. I don't say, when I meet someone new, I wouldn't say like, I've got 5 kids.
But I don't
when they make
consider myself to have. I'm sorry.
I feel
that might go against what some people think, but I don't think of it like that.
I think, has Squiddy gone half term even? Have we got a gender?
Yeah, I think that's
maybe
different.
And you know what I mean?
Well,
arms and leg stuff. Like, I remember miscarriages are quite brutal. Like, they're very visual. I remember carrying you from the bed to the toilet and all the stuff coming out.
Yeah, it's
you know?
not like how I thought it was
stuff, right? But imagine it was further along and there was like hands and feet and stuff. Like,
well,
man.
I'm not going to say any names, but I had, after that happened to me, a few people reached out to me and told me stories like that, where that actually happened.
Oh my goodness, could you imagine?
And they just never spoke about it because they were too embarrassed or too afraid. And it's just, that was one of my worst fears.
You could see it.
Yeah. Because there was, not to get too graphic, but so much stuff comes out.
Yeah.
It's not like, I had been told
Like, remember
when
we
I
were
was
even laughing
younger,
though because you had to walk with your legs closed.
because every
like a
time
little
if Jonathan
penguin.
if Jonathan made me laugh,
More
more
came out.
chunks would come out. And then I didn't want to ruin the carpet.
Yeah.
So I had to waddle like a penguin. But I kept laughing and was trying to hold it in. And it was just brutal, you know? And I remember people telling me before, because I never understood before I had kids or before I had the miscarriage, you know, people would say, oh, it's just a miscarriage is just like a heavy period. It's not like a heavy period at all. It's like you're in labor almost.
Which
Because
then questions, you know, the I didn't know I was pregnant people.
I know.
And then they have a full-term baby
I
in the
don't
toilet.
understand that
Like,
at all.
How did that happen?
I don't understand that at all, because you're getting the cramping pains. Like, it's,
I've never been pregnant.
you know.
But that's what I mean. I think I had 4 children and a miscarriage.
Yeah,
That's
no,
how
I
feel
know.
about it. I don't feel
but
like
I just
I had 5
don't. I don't
children.
need people to, every time I say I have 4 kids, people to remind me every time. I'm like, okay, I remember, but
Like, we have someone who lives very close to us, lost a child last year who was the same age as Eduardo. That's losing a child.
100%.
You know what I mean? That's not like, oh, he wouldn't. I don't think he would say.
But I also do think that if you're further along in your pregnancy,
Yeah.
that everybody can say whatever they want. If you feel like you lost a child
exactly
every time you got pregnant and lost, you know, the baby, however far along it is, then that's your right. They're your
exactly.
babies. They're
Exactly.
your pregnancies. They're your children. I just that was my feeling on it, but I don't think that everybody should be like me.
But I
And-
think it's about how you're raised as well. Like, your family is very traditional, very like, you know what I mean? Keep it in the inside.
Yeah, probably.
You know, so it's like, there's nothing going on here. The house is on fire. Everything is fine. Go back to bed.
Yeah.
We'll deal with this. And my mom like, oh my God, the house is on fire. Running around, we're all screaming and crying and emotional on the outside. You know, and that's just the difference between us, you know. But then you don't handle the little things and I handle the little things very well.
Exactly. So it's kind of
Everyone's different.
balanced out,
You
but
know, but I do feel really sorry for the both of them having to go through this, and then
I don't
putting
know
up that
how
picture.
you cannot feel
But
bad.
putting up that picture and knowing that, although like 10% of people shouted at them, 90% of people probably appreciated it and felt comfort, because people are
Yeah.
probably going through that every single day. And that's what most people said to us.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
I think-
privately, we got so many people messaging us saying like, thank you so much.
Exactly.
And now,
Even
because
now.
with that video, I was able to go into the meta value of that video and put in miscarriages and what it's like. So if anyone's experiencing that today and they Google it and they find our video,
because
then they can find out what happened years later.
when it happened to us, that was the first thing I did was like Googled or I YouTubed miscarriage, and there was hardly anything.
Nothing.
So that's part of the reason why.
Probably because people are being shamed from talking about it.
Probably.
Which is terrible, because if you buy something or you're thinking about getting something, the first thing you do, right, you go to YouTube and you're like watching unboxing, or you see someone's experience on it. I think it should be the same for life, right? So it's like, what happens if I kiss a boy? And then you look at a YouTube video and that's what happens. You're like, oh, okay, I'll do that then.
Well, that's what the pregnancy vlogs were, essentially.
Yeah, that's how so many people followed you. And people still today start the journey, because you're like, here's a woman with 4 kids. I want to see what that journey's like. I want to watch that show, and see what that lifestyle is like.
It was just, we were, going along our first pregnancy, sharing symptoms, sharing experiences. And there were only, before that, not that I was the first one to do it, but before my kind of generation, it was just books. You had like textbooks on how to do it. I remember, because I was given what to expect when you're expecting, which is great, but it's not the same as a real life experience being, told to you and shown to you via YouTube.
And being able to then skip ahead and see Alessia come along and Andrea come along.
Yeah.
I know Alessia was probably our most stressful pregnancy. The rainbow pregnancy is so intense and stressful, because now you're waiting, even when she came out of you and the umbilical cord is wrapped around her, and the doctor was so chill about cutting her out, and I was just like, she's gone. I knew we weren't getting one. I knew it wasn't going to happen. I was just prepared the whole time. I am not emotionally engaging this time, because it was a lie last time. And then oh gosh, you remember Amelia, she was like, where's the baby? And then when we got pregnant again, and had to explain to her that we're pregnant again, and she didn't believe, like, she was just like, yeah, whatever, because she was like, I'm not getting a baby.
I don't really remember that.
Oh God, I remember that. Trying telling her that we lost a baby that was in heaven and all that, and then she was like, okay with it. And then
she was the same age that Alessia is now when that happened. So it's like trying to explain to that age.
But she didn't know. What I'm saying is, she didn't. When we got pregnant with Alessia, she didn't believe us. She thought like, yeah, you said that before. You know what I mean? She was like, the first time she was looking for a baby, and the second time she was like, yeah, but there's no baby coming. And I remember that was so hard. Like, that was so sad. Like,
and also I remember that she told her whole class, even though it was, or her teacher or whatever, she was in kindergarten. She was in the same class as Alessia is now. Yeah. And she told her teacher, and then her teacher either called us or like pulled us aside and was like, I'm not sure if she still thinks that you're pregnant, because it was so close after the last one, and we had to be like, no, we're pregnant again. But it was really early on. Do you remember? Yeah. But she was just like, oh gosh, because it was literally a month later that
they were probably trying to explain to her, oh no, how are we going to tell her again?
I know, exactly.
There's no baby
and she
coming.
was like, oh, she's so excited. She said she's getting a baby sister. Is this true? We were like, no, it is. But it did happen really quick for us.
And I hope that's what happens for Chrissy and John.
It is traumatic though, and I think what we went through is not as traumatic as what they went through.
But if anyone
I don't know,
is going through that right now and happens to be watching and listening to this, know that we did go on and have 2 more children, and we didn't have another miscarriage. We've only had 2 more. Maybe if we had another one, it was 1 in 3. I'm not sure.
It's supposed to be 1 in 4, but I think apparently it's actually more frequent than that.
It is quite regular. They probably should tell people that.
I know. Well, like I said, I felt like I was invincible because I was really young. Yeah. I was only 27, I think, when I had the miscarriage, or 28. Can't remember now. Maybe 28. And I felt like, well, I'm still in my 20s. I had 2 perfectly healthy pregnancies. And ignorantly, I just thought, I'll be fine.
That's the thing that happens to other people. Exactly. Always that argument.
And then it happened, and I was so confused, because I was like, but I didn't do anything different. Yeah. So it just made me very different. Like what you said, it made me view Alessia's pregnancy so differently, and I was so stressed.
And even how Alessia is now is like, I always say she's like that because of how her pregnancy went down. Yeah. And Andrea was like so easygoing,
which is funny because you'd think that nothing would change. You'd think that we'd be the same with Andrea, but I think with Andrea, I knew he was going to be my last baby, and so I really wanted to just enjoy every part of it. And I was like, I'm not I'm not letting this be a stressful situation.
No.
I'm just going to go with it.
Even the actual labor and delivery, even with the OB and the whole team, like we were all having laughs and jokes, and was just like, oh,
Yeah.
he's baby. And he was like upside down, backwards. He was, what's the term?
Back to back.
Back to back. And like, it was like a total, he was like 10 pounds. He like broke your pelvis.
No, he wasn't. He was 8'13".
That's pretty big. But it's still, we were all just like, this is it. Like, and then he came out, and then he was a ginger as well. And we were like, oh my God, what else could go wrong?
And he was so happy and so calm.
Yeah,
Whereas Alessia was like,
yeah.
cried the most,
Yeah.
needed to be held by me at all
Yeah.
times,
So
was
different,
so
so
fussy,
different.
was just such an, I don't want to say an anxious baby because she wasn't anxious. She was just difficult.
She was how
was just
we were
difficult.
during
Yeah.
her pregnancy.
She really embodied every feeling that I had
Yeah.
in that pregnancy. And I loved her for it though, because I was like, you know what, this is exactly, it's how I felt.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
it made sense. And the fact that she didn't want to be away from me, the fact that she was really tiny and she just wanted to be close to me all the time. And it's like, she didn't even want to come out.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, none of
She's
none of
probably
them
happy
wanted
to go back in now.
Yeah,
though.
she would probably happily go back inside.
She thinks that she's the baby, not Dre. Not Dre.
Exactly. So, but that's kind of, I don't know. I think it's kind of nice. They're all different.
They are all different. They're all very different.
And it's kind of cool.
It is kind of
Otherwise,
cool.
it'd be boring.
It would be
So-
boring. Well, I hope you enjoyed our first episode of No Kids Allowed. Yeah, it was a journey. We will have some guests on from time to time. We will have different topics about different discussions. Feel free to leave comments below if you're watching on YouTube about any topics you think would be cool for us to cover.
I think we should have Sina as our first guest.
Sina, I think we should have Bianca.
Sina has
What's Sina going to tell? What's Sina going to talk about?
Sina has so much life experience.
Okay, well,
She remembers tub tubs.
She does remember tub tubs. We did have a very different life a long time ago before we became. This is what I'm talking about. It's like I want us to this channel, this platform, whatever, this No Kids Allowed is for us to be just silly again. You know what I mean? Just talk about stuff and hang out that we used to do before we became responsible parents.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe and leave some comments. Maybe hit that like button so you know that we like it. And if you're not watching it on YouTube and you're listening somewhere, because maybe someday I'll upload this to somewhere else. Hello. There's a video on YouTube you may want to watch. But other than that, thanks for watching the video, guys. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
No